Hello guys, welcome. See, in this video we will be discussing about how to prepare for IAS prelims. Okay, section wise strategy we'll be taking. The first section is Indian polity. In Indian polity we should study two books. Okay, the first book is Indian Constitution at Work by NCRT publication. It is class 11th book, and the second book is Indian Polity by Lakshmi Kant. Okay, these are the two books you are going to study for Indian polity, and let us see what are the important concepts we should cover in Indian polity section. Okay, when it comes to important concepts, we will be seeing the previous year paper. Based on that, we will be telling the important topics to be covered. Okay, in constitution we have to cover the concepts like salient features, preamble, fundamental rights, and certain amendments are there. We have to cover that amendments, various schedules and important articles in the constitution we should be covering. Then we should be covering about parliamentary systems. Just a minute. Parliamentary systems, then parliament, its organization. Okay, houses, membership, session of the parliament. We should be covering about budget. Parliamentary committees are very important. Union, state, concurrent list, three lists are there, they are important. And we should be covering about president, his qualification, powers, functions, how veto is carried on. Okay, all these things we should be covering. Then when it comes to prime minister, we should be covering about appointment of prime minister, certain functions, and council of ministers. The concept of cabinet should be covered very nicely. And when it comes to court system in our country, we should be covering about Supreme Court, High Court, the appointment of judges to these courts, and we should also be covering about PISA Act. Panchayat Raj mein aata hai ye PISA Act. In broader view, we have to cover this act. Then certain constitutional and non-constitutional bodies should also be covered. Okay, this is the important topics to be covered in Indian polity when it comes to prelims point of view. Okay, then now let us go to what is contained in the prescribed book, what I have mentioned. In the first book, they have dealt about certain rights of the citizens, elections, representations, executive, legislation, judiciary, federalism, local government, and philosophy of the constitution. Okay, all these concepts are covered in this NCRT book. Whereas in Indian polity book, they have covered the concepts like constitutional framework, central government, system of government, state government, constitutional bodies, union territory, special areas, non-constitutional bodies, political dynamics in our country, local government. All these concepts they have covered in Lakshmi Kant book. Okay, thus it about Indian polity, guys. We have talked about what are the sources to be studied, what are the important concepts to be studied, and what is contained in the prescribed book which I have mentioned here. And let us go for second section, that is history section. See, when it comes to history section, it is divided into four subsections. The first is ancient, second is medieval, third is modern, and fourth is cultural history. First, let us go for ancient India. See, for ancient India, you should be studying ancient India old NCRT book. And when it comes to medieval India, you should be studying old NCRT medieval India book. When it comes to modern India, you should be studying old NCRT modern India written by Bipin Chandra book. Along with this NCRT for modern India, you can also cover any one of the book, that is modern India by Sumit Sarkar or modern India by Spectrum publication. Any one book pick up and study along with this old modern India book. And when it comes to culture, you should be covering Indian art and culture by Nitin Singhania book. बहुत ही अच्छा book है and very nice book. Okay, apart from these sources, I don't think you should be studying any other sources. Okay, and let us see which are all the important concepts which we have to cover in Indian history section. Okay, just a minute, some technical glitch here. Okay, let us continue. See, when it comes to important concept, first in ancient India, we should be covering about Harappan and Indus Valley civilization, rise of Mahajanapadas, Mauryan Empire, Buddhism, Jainism, silent features of this Buddhism, Jainism, and we should be covering about various travelers, their accounts. Okay, these are the important concepts we should cover in ancient India. And when it comes to medieval, we should be covering about Bhakti movement, Sufi movement, Mughal period, various features of Mughal period, Vijayanagar Empire, and various crafts in medieval period. And when it comes to modern India, we should be covering the concepts like British rule in India, how they established the British rule in India, their policy, administrative policies, the revolt of 1857, nationalism, formation of Indian National Congress, militant revolution, and constitutional development. Even partition should be covered very nicely. Okay, these are the broader concept which we will be covering in this modern India. And when it comes to culture, certain concepts we have to cover like Vedic culture, philosophies. There are six system of Hindu philosophy: Buddhism, Jainism, Bhakti movement, Sufism, and temple architecture, various types of dances, paintings, crafts. All this should be covered in culture portion. And let us see what is there in these books. We have talked about important concepts to cover, but what is there in these books? Okay, first let us go to ancient old NCERT book. See, in this book they have very nicely written about Indus Valley civilization. They have written about Vedic periods, Jainism, and Buddhism. Even Mauryan Empire they have covered. That's it about this book. And let us go for medieval India. This book, what is there in this book? See, in this book various dynasties they have written very nicely, like Slave dynasty, Khalji dynasty, Togolak dynasty, and various other dynasties they have written very nicely. And when it comes to modern India book, this old NCERT book by Bipin Chandra, they have written about British East India Company, how it established in India. Various movements they have discussed: freedom struggle, formation of Indian National Congress, revolutionary terrorism, Khilafat movement, Swadeshi movement, non-cooperation movement, civil disobedience movement. All these they have covered in modern India. Even what I have told the modern Indian content in this book, the same syllabus they have covered in Sumit Sarkar and Spectrum, but in a elaborate manner. That's the reason you should be studying any one of these books, Spectrum or Sumit Sarkar. That's it. And let us see what they have covered in this Nitin Singhania culture book. See, in this book, many pictures and diagrams they have included. Very nice content they have included in this book. It contains arts, paintings, musics, and architecture. When it comes to musics, they have covered very nicely the Hindustani and Carnatic musics. They have compared and constructed very nicely. Musical instruments, many musical instruments they have covered. Gharanas, about Gharana in detail they have covered. When it comes to painting, they have covered about folk paintings. When it comes to art and architecture, cave architecture, rock architecture, temple styles, the construction of temple styles they have covered. That's it about Nitin Singhania book. Okay. Okay. After discussing all this in detail, let us go on to the next section, that is geography. Okay, let us see which is the book we should be covering. There are 4 NCERT books we should cover for geography. The first NCERT book is physical geography, second is environment, third is human geography, and fourth is economy. Okay, these are the 4 NCERT books. Okay, the first is physical geography, environment, human geography, and economy. These are the 4 NCERTs. Along with that, one reference book for general geography. We should be calling it as world geography, that is certificate physical and human geography by DC Leon. This is the 5th book. And 2 atlases. One is for Indian maps, that is Oriental Longman Atlas, and one is for world map, that is Oxford School Atlas for world map. Okay, now after discussing which book we should be studying, let us see what was the important concept we should be covering in this geography section. See, when it comes to geography section, we should be covering the concepts like India physical structure, the physiography of India, then certain other concepts like climate, vegetation, agriculture, resources, minerals, forest, ecology, and neighboring countries, that is political system of neighboring countries. Okay, this should be covered in Indian geography section. When it comes to world geography section, certain important concepts like landforms, climatography, atmosphere, pressure belts, local winds, monsoon. Okay, then when it comes to oceanography in world geography, we should be studying about temperature, various currents, waves, energy resources, coral reefs. Okay, when it comes to biogeography, we should be covering about conservation, the degradation, soil erosion, deforestation. Okay, all these things will be covered in biogeography, and we should be covering about environmental geography, physical features of world, and political world geography. All these are contained in world geography section. Okay, after mentioning the important concepts to be covered, let us go and see what is there in these 5 books. Let us go one by one. The first book, Physical Geography, Fundamentals of Physical Geography. What they have covered in this book, they have covered about origin of Earth, the various landforms, the climatic types, oceans types, biodiversity. All these are contained in first book. And when it comes to environment, physical environment book, the second book, they have covered very nicely about structure and physiography of our Earth, and vegetation, soils, natural hazards, disasters. Okay, and when it comes to the third book, human geography book, they have covered about population, density, human development index, certain sectors like primary, secondary, tertiary sectors, transport and settlements. When it comes to fourth book, economy, India, people and economy book, they have covered about migration, population, land resources, agriculture, water resources, minerals, manufacturing industries, transport, trade. That's it. And when it comes to the certificate physical and human geography book, they have covered about certain concepts like earth topology, weather, climate, different climatic regions in the world, vegetation across the world. All these they have covered. Even this book is divided into 2 sections. The first section is covers physical geography, the second section covers the concepts like weather and climate. That's it about geography, guys, and let us go into the next section. It's about economy. Just a minute, guys. It's about economy. Let us see what is the books we should be referring to. 3 NCERT books are there for this one. Okay, the first NCERT book is Indian Economic Development. Here is the picture. Second book is Microeconomics. Here is the picture. Third is Macroeconomics. Here is the picture. And the fourth reference, it is not NCERT. गलती से छपका यहाँ पे. It is not NCERT. It is a reference book. Uma Kapila book. Performance and Policy book. Uma Kapila book. Economic Survey, the latest edition we should be studying. Economic Times newspaper. All these are the sources for economy. The pictures I have mentioned here, and let us see what are the important concepts we should be covering in economy section. When it comes to important concepts, certain concepts we have to cover like basic concepts, theory of consumer behavior, demand and supply, production laws of diminishing returns. Okay, all these should be covered, and even the national income accounting types, that is GDP, GNP, money banking concepts, and certain expenditure, plan and non-plan expenditures, balance of payment, foreign exchanges, open economy, about convertibility of money, about capital account, IMF, World Bank, challenges which are there in Indian economy, poverty alleviation and rural development programs, environment and sustainable development. All these things are very important when it comes to economy. And let us see what is contained in the prescribed book which I have mentioned here. Okay, let us go one by one. In the first book, Indian Economic Development, they have covered about how was the Indian economy on the eve of independence. Okay, they have covered about how was Indian economy between period 1950 to 1990. They have told certain goals of 5-year plans, trade policies, what was there in these 5-year plans, economic reforms since 1991, liberalization, privatization and globalization. Even the concept of poverty, they have covered very nicely. Human capital formation in India, rural development, infrastructure, employment, and comparison of Indian economy with their neighboring countries. All this they have covered very nicely in first book. And let us go to microeconomics NCERT book. What is there in this book? See, in this book they have covered about consumer budgeting, preference of the consumers. They have covered the concept of demand, like market demand, demand curve, production and cost concept, perfect competition concept, profit maximization, supply curve. All these they have covered in microeconomics. And when we come to this book, macroeconomics, they have covered certain concepts like national income accounting, money and banking, income determination, budgeting of government, balance of payment, foreign exchange market. Okay, all these concepts they have covered in macroeconomic book. When it comes to reference book, Uma Kapila book बहुत ही अच्छा book है. When it comes to Uma Kapila book, basic issues and policies they have discussed, poverty, inequality, employment, agriculture, industry, service sectors in India. Just a minute. Financial sectors, external sectors, all these in detail Uma Kapila has covered. Okay, that's it about economy section, guys. Now let us go on to the next section, fifth section, that is science section. See, when it comes to science section, only two NCERTs are very relevant for science section: class 9th NCERT and class 10th NCERT. Okay, and we should also be covering the general science section in that bulky McGraw-Hill publication का एक book आता है, paper 1. It's paper 1. It's very bulky book. In that bulky book, just pick up the general science section and study apart from the two NCERTs which I have mentioned here. Okay, let us see what are all the important concepts which are there in this science book, in this science section. What are the concepts we should be covering in this science? Okay, see, when it comes to important concepts, certain concepts like ecosystems, diversity, application of microbes, diseases, various forms of energy. Okay, all these things related to science, application oriented science we should be covering. Even the application oriented of chemistry we should be covering. Modern physics, fundamental concepts of modern physics we should cover. Even about the solar system, earth, its fundamentals we should cover. Even about particles we should cover. And biotechnology is very important nowadays in science. Genetic engineering is very important, the concept of genetic engineering, and various other biofertilizers, animal husbandry. All these concepts we should be covering in science. And let us see what is contained in these books, prescribed book. Okay, just a minute, guys. Okay, when it comes to 9th standard NCERT book, certain very important concepts like matters they have covered very nicely. Atoms, molecules, tissues, motion, forces, gravitation, work and energy, sound, natural resources. These are contained in 9th NCERT. When it comes to 10th NCERT, this book, what is there in this book? Okay, chemical reactions, acids, bases, salts, metals, non-metals, carbon, elements, reproduction, concept of heredity and evolution, reflection, refraction, physics concept, human eye, the structure of human eye, electricity, the concept of electricity, sources of energy. All these are contained in 10th standard NCERT book. That's it. Okay, when it comes to the third source, that is general science section of Tata McGraw-Hill, they have covered all what is relevant for the examination in comprehensive manner. Okay, just go to that book and pick up the science section and read out. That's enough for science. And the sixth segment is environment. Just a minute, guys. See, in this environment section, we should be covering these sources. There are 4 sources to cover, very important and needed sources. The first source is Crisis and Cure by Rajagopalan. Okay, environmental science from crisis and cure, Rajagopalan book. It is Oxford publication book. It's very standard and highly recommended book. And the other 3 sources are websites, very important websites. Government ka website hai ye. First website tells about the latest policies and programs of government related to environment, forest. Go to this website. You will get all the relevant materials, updates you see, and copy paste in your own documents. Okay, very important. And when it comes to International Union for Conservation of Nature, IUCN website, okay, all relevant documents and latest updates, just go pick up what is needed and copy paste. And when it comes to United Nations environmental program, you should be going to unep.org. बहुत ही important website है. You just go and see the latest developments and pick up the important points and copy paste for further references. Okay, all these three websites along with Rajagopalan book is more than sufficient to prepare for environment section. And now let us see what is there in this Rajagopalan book, that is environmental studies. It talks about case studies. बहुत ही case studies cover कर चुके हैं इस book में राजगोपालन sir. Like environmental degradation concept they have covered very nicely. Biodiversity concept in detail they have covered. Pollution, the various types of pollution, air pollution, water pollution, like that. Climate change, the concept of climate change, which is picking momentum these days, they have covered. Global warming, a big cause of concern for the globe, they have covered very nicely. Okay, all these things are contained in environment section and in this book. And let us go for the 7th section, which talks about current affairs. When it comes to current affairs, indispensable sources you need to study is Hindu paper padna hi chahiye, and Indian Express you can keep it for supplementing Hindu. Okay, see, the speciality of Hindu is the words what they use is very complex. That's the reason you can supplement Hindu with Indian Express. Okay, and what to be studied in Hindu? See, in Hindu you should be studying the front page, बहुत ही compulsory है पढ़ना, front page पढ़ना. Then directly move on to the middle page where they will be mentioning about editorials. Okay, certain editorials like 3 to 4 editorials they will be writing daily apart from Sunday. Daily you can read that editorials. Front page and editorial reading is compulsory for this exam. Okay, and many people find it a difficulty, mainly from Hindi, जो हिंदी से ले रहे हैं exam, they find it very difficult according to me to read the Hindu paper because of the complexity of the words they have used in Hindu paper. That's the reason I will be making, already have made, and I will be making in future also, this current affairs editorial ka video I have made. You just go to my blog, iasguideblog.wordpress.com. Go to this blog. You will be finding the video explanation of editorials of Hindu and Indian Express daily. Okay, daily I will be uploading the videos. If you find it difficult to read the editorials of Hindu, just see my video, then go back and read Hindu. Then it will be very comfortable for you people to finish it off. Okay, first see the video. Morning I will be uploading, very morning I will be uploading the video. First see the video. If you find it difficult to read Hindu, then go and read Hindu so that you will be covering the Hindu very fast. Okay, nicely I have covered all the editorials from September 1st 2016 onwards. Nicely I have covered all the editorials which is needed for the examinations from these newspapers. And after studying the Hindu and Indian Express along with my video tutorial, you can also go for Yojana and Kurukshetra magazine. These two magazines are very important exam point of view. In Yojana magazine, they will be discussing about social problems in India, various schemes for rural peoples they will be discussing, and in Kurukshetra issue they will be discussing about rural development concept. Okay, rural development का concept बहुत ही अच्छा cover करते हैं Kurukshetra issue में. So that these two issues are a must for an aspirant of IAS. Okay, so what I will be doing is I will be covering Yojana and Kurukshetra issues monthly wise. Okay, both Yojana and Kurukshetra I will be covering. Video tutorials will be there free for everybody. It will be available on my blog, isguideblog.wordpress.com. Just go to the blog. From August issue I have covered. Just see the videos what I have uploaded. If you don't have time to read Yojana and Kurukshetra, more than sufficient. Okay, nicely I have explained what is there in this magazines. And the next source is magazines like Chronicle, Wizard and Civil Service Times, CST. Okay, any one magazine you pick up and cover. See, these magazines are to cover daily news items. Daily news items will be covered in this magazine, news items. Okay, they will not cover editorial parts. Editorial parts खुद ही prepare करना चाहिए. Hindu, Indian Express through my वीडियो ट्यूटोरियल खुद ही प्रिपेयर करो, माइंड मैप खुद ही बनाओ, किसी और का माइंड मैप जाके पढ़ना ज़रूरी नहीं है, बिकॉज समबडी माइट हैव प्रिपेयर्ड माइंड मैप, उनको समझ में आता है, इफ दे सी द माइंड मैप यू पीपल विल नॉट बी एबल टू फॉलो दैट माइंड मैप. ओके, अपना माइंड मैप खुद ही बनाना. ओके, सो दैट यू विल बी comfortable to revise it. Okay, that's the reason what I will tell is see my video, read Hindu, Indian Express, you prepare very concise and small mind map yourself, so that it will be handy for you people. Don't go for copy paste and ready-made type of mind map which are available in popular websites. Don't go for the copy paste material, news items and all. Okay, just see Hindu, then Chronicle, Wizard or CST. That's enough for current affairs. Okay, see, in Chronicle, Wizard and Civil Service Times, I would highly recommend Wizard, because contents are same in Chronicle, Wizard and Civil Service Times. Contents are same. तीन ही मैगजीन बहुत ही अच्छा है, but Wizard is concise nature, that is thoda chota hai book. That's the reason I will be highly recommending Wizard. If some people find it difficult to follow Wizard, you can go for Chronicle or Civil Service Times. Okay, all these three magazines are very nice. In one magazine you follow, the two from June 2016 issue, you follow this magazine for news items, not for editorials. And India yearbook, see, when it comes to India yearbook, बहुत ही important book है, बहुत ही bulky book है, 1200 plus pages book है ये, but this book is very nice. No need to study this book from front page to last page. Only study the relevant chapters. Okay, about relevant chapters I will be publishing another video soon. In that I will be telling what are the relevant chapters to be studied in India yearbook. Okay, बहुत ही chapters है, but all the chapters are not important. 50% of the chapters are important, which I will be telling in further videos. Okay, blog visit करते रहना, आपको पता चल जाएगा. That's it guys. करंट अफेयर्स बहुत ही अच्छा है, बट बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट. ओके, इस बार प्रीलिम्स में तो करंट अफेयर्स से भरे हुए थे, कॉन्सेप्ट्स एंड ऑल, इवन द गवर्नमेंट स्कीम्स एंड ऑल, दे हैव asked very much current affairs, but need not, the same trend need not continue next year. We don't know, they will ask from current affairs many questions or not, but our job is to cover each and every bit of the syllabus 100%. Let us go for the next section, aptitude. See, when it comes to aptitude, paper 2 का concept है ये aptitude. Two books comes to my mind. First book is अभिजीत गुहा का book of aptitude, and second book is शर्मा जी का book, CAT का book है. Level 1 questions are more than sufficient, and in quantitative aptitude by अभिजीत गुहा पूरा book की बहुत ही important है. Okay, and when it comes to reasoning, you should go for reasoning by Trapp book. Okay, टाटा मैकग्रा-हिल publication book है, बहुत ही bulky book है, but बहुत ही simple and easy coverage type का book है. And when it comes to comprehension, interpersonal skills, communication skills, decision making, no sources, explicit sources are not required, so you can go for guide. Okay, टाटा मैकग्रा-हिल गाइड पेपर 2 का गाइड है. इसमें comprehension बहुत ही अच्छा comprehension, 65 plus comprehension he has covered very nicely. Very tough comprehension is there, but इसी टाइप का comprehension solve करना चाहिए, so that when you go and sit in the UPSC exam, the comprehension section becomes very easy for you people. Okay, interpersonal and communication skills they have covered in this book. Decision making they have covered in this book, more than sufficient for all these three concepts. Only one book is more than sufficient. That's it guys. We have discussed about all the books what we have to refer. We have discussed about what is the important concept we should be covering. We have discussed about the very important section, current affairs, what you should be covering. Hindu editorial, my video editorial, Yojana, Kurukshetra, my video editorial of Yojana and Kurukshetra, and any one magazine, Civil Service Times, Wizard and Chronicle. Okay, all these concepts we have dealt very nicely. All the best for the examinations. Keep viewing the blog for latest updates. All the information what is needed for the IAS exam I will be uploading in this blog. बहुत ही अच्छा blog है. Just be regular in this viewing this blog. Okay, all the best for the examinations. Even I would recommend for you people to join the integrated guidance program 2017, which I have started on my blog. Okay, just see IGP 2017 on my blog. You'll get all the information how to prepare for prelims, mains as well as interview. Okay, all the best for the examination guys. Bye.